Prepping is obviously a sensible and often necessary practice. However, beginners in the prepping community, and some who've been prepping for a while, can make several common mistakes that can hinder their readiness. So we're going to look at 10 rookie prepping mistakes, explain why they are mistakes, and provide tips on how to avoid them. Even if you aren't a new prepper, I bet one or more of the items on this list could use more of your attention. Overemphasis on gear and supplies. Why it's a mistake. Focusing solely on accumulating gear and supplies can be misleading and dangerous. While having the right tools and provisions is essential, it's equally important to develop the skills needed to use them. How to avoid it. Balance your prepping efforts between gathering supplies and acquiring skills. Learn essential survival skills, as we all know, like first aid, fire starting, shelter building, and water purification. Practice these skills regularly to ensure you can rely on them in an emergency. The last part is the key. You must practice any skill in order to become efficient. You didn't just hop in a car and become a great driver. You didn't sit down at a desk and immediately know how to string words together to form sentences. Any skill worth having is worth practicing. Ignoring physical fitness. Why it's a mistake. Physical fitness is crucial for handling the physical demands of an emergency, like evacuating, carrying supplies, and performing manual tasks. Neglecting fitness can limit your ability to respond effectively. What will you do if you have to hike 20 miles carrying 50 pounds of gear? How to avoid it. Incorporate regular physical exercise into your prepping routine. Focus on building your strength, your endurance, and your flexibility. Simple things like walking, running, and even light weightlifting can significantly improve your preparedness. Start today by walking, gradually building up to carrying a pack with weight in it. Failure to rotate supplies. Why this is a mistake. Stockpiling supplies without regularly rotating them can lead to spoilage and waste. Expired food and degraded equipment can be useless or even harmful in an emergency. How do you avoid it? Implement a rotation system for your supplies. Use the first in, first out principle to ensure that older items are used before they expire. And regularly check those expiration dates on food, batteries, and medical supplies, and replace them as needed. Overlooking water storage. Why it's a mistake. Water, as we know, is more critical than food for short-term survival, and yet many new preppers underestimate the amount needed or they fail to store it properly. Without an adequate water supply, survival is pretty much non-existent. How to avoid it. Store at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for a minimum of 2 weeks, and ideally more. Use food-grade containers and store them in a cool, dark place. Additionally, have several methods for water purification, like filters, purification tablets, and boiling. Lastly, have backup water procurement options, like nearby lakes or even swimming pools. These are a great resource if you know the steps to properly purify pool water. And if you aren't aware of all the steps needed to make pool water safe for drinking, check out the video I've linked in the description. Neglecting a bug-out bag. Why it's a mistake. A bug-out bag is essential for rapid evacuation. Failing to prepare one means you may not have crucial supplies readily available when you need to leave quickly. How to avoid it? Well, prepare a bug-out bag for each family member containing essential items like water, food, clothing, first aid supplies, and important documents. Keep the bags easily accessible and periodically update them to ensure they meet your current needs. Even if you never plan to bug out, due to many different circumstances, there are instances where bugging out will be your only option, so be prepared. Inadequate communication plans. Why is this a mistake? During a disaster, communication networks may be disrupted, making it difficult to contact your family members or others if you have a group. Without a solid communication plan, you risk being isolated and uninformed. So how do you avoid it? Establish multiple ways to communicate with family and friends, like cell phones, radios, and satellite phones. And agree on meeting points and check-in times. Teach each family member how to use communication devices and what to do if separated. Relying solely on one location. Why it's a mistake. Putting all your supplies and trust in one location, like your home, can be risky. If that location becomes inaccessible or compromised, you could lose everything. So how do you avoid it? Create multiple caches of supplies in different locations, like a bug-out location, a friend's house, or you can even bury them. This redundancy ensures you have backup resources if your primary location is compromised. Failing to consider special needs. So why is this a mistake? Every family has unique needs, whether it's a medical condition, dietary restriction, or fur babies. Overlooking these needs can lead to severe problems during an emergency. So how do you avoid it? Well, tailor your prepping efforts to accommodate those special needs. Store necessary medications, specialized foods, and pet supplies. Create a plan that includes how to address these needs during different types of emergencies. Lack of practice and drills. Why is this a mistake? Having a plan and supplies is not enough if you don't practice using them. In a real emergency, panic and confusion can make it difficult to remember what to do. So how do you avoid it? Conduct regular drills with your family to practice your emergency plan. Simulate different scenarios and ensure everyone knows their roles and their responsibilities. Practice using your supplies and equipment to ensure you can use them effectively when needed. Lack of a comprehensive plan. I think this is number one. Why it's a mistake. Without a comprehensive plan, people are likely to be disorganized and unprepared for various scenarios. Running to buy supplies without a clear strategy can lead to gaps in preparedness and wasted resources. How to avoid it. Develop a detailed emergency plan that covers different types of disasters, like natural events like hurricanes and earthquakes, to man-made crises like power outages and economic collapse. Outline specific actions for each scenario, including evacuation routes and communication plans and even supply lists. By avoiding these common rookie mistakes, you can increase your preparedness and improve your chances of surviving and thriving during an emergency. With these strategies, you can become more effective and confident. All right, so now that we've reviewed the basics that I know many of you have heard dozens of times, which ones do you need to work on? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.